As you can see here, the rear bumper has not been painted quite well. You can see a lot of blisters, cracks. Here's a crack. They really did not do a good job with the painting. And some of these defects actually developed over time. They were not there when the bumpers were painted. So to remove the rear bumper, you have a Phillips head screw at the outer corners. Here is one. Then you have three hex head bolts. One is here, one is at the center, and another one at the side right here. All these use socket 10. These are M6 bolts. And you have another Phillips head screw at the side. Use a 10 socket to remove these bolts. Additionally, you also have one bolt on either side of the bumper at the bottom, which is attached to the mudguard through a bracket. You can see this one is clearly rusted. Here is that bolt on the other side, which is attached to the mudguard. You can clearly see it. So I've sprayed some WD-40 on all these rusted screws and bolts. So the bumper is finally out. It took me some time because those bolts at the bottom, which is secured to this metal bracket here, you can see this tack welded nut. So those bolts were like really rusted. I had to spray some WD-40 to penetrate and give it some time. You can see the condition of the bolt here. So that's that. And this area I'll have to give it a thorough cleaning because a lot of dust have been accumulated over the years. So I'll have to give it a proper cleaning using soapy water and drying it off. You can see the factory paint below all this dust. So giving it a clean should be fine. And these brackets that you see, these are where the number plate is going to be secured. And the bumper is out. So these brackets that you see, which are screwed onto the bumper, you will have to remove them because the new bumper does not come with these brackets. The number plate lights are mounted onto these, so we'll have to remove them and give it a proper cleaning. I've sprayed some WD-40 onto those. So these are those brackets, and they have some rust on them. So I'll have to strip the rust and clean it properly. When we had our bumpers painted, the shop did not properly mask these lights. That's why you see a lot of overspray on the lens of the number plate lights. Anyway, we have the replacements with us, so that's not a problem. And these are from Lumax, as you can see here. So before installing the replacement lights, what we'll do is we'll give the plates a proper cleaning to get rid of all the rust, and then we'll give it 2 coats of paint, and that should be fine. And over those we'll install the new number plate lights. I've immersed these mounts in some thinner so it will help get rid of the old paint, and we'll use some sandpaper to get rid of the rust as much as possible, and over that we'll do some painting. So I've hung these mounts outside, and I've given it a coat of spray paint. I got a bottle of spray paint from a local hardware store, this one right here. So I use them to spray it, and I'll give it sufficient time to dry. It's very sunny outside, so it should dry about in half an hour. I'll give it another coat after that, and that should be sufficient. So here is the end result after applying 2 coats of spray paint. It has come out quite okay. I did not use a primer. If you can, please do it. It will help paint adhere to the surface properly. So yeah, finish is quite okay, should be acceptable. So we are back to the basement, and I've connected the number plate lights with the mounts, and I've tried cleaning this area to the best of my ability. Not a 100% job, but should be okay for now. There was some areas where the dust, it had sort of penetrated into the paint, so I couldn't do anything about this, and I had to connect the bumper. So this is that plastic clip which is secured into the metal body on which the Phillips head screw goes. So that is done. There's another screw here at the bottom. So that screw is also done. You can see it right here from the bottom. So that wraps up the rear bumper replacement work. As you can see, it is back to its former glory, where the LX models or the original Zens came with the black bumper without any paint. I'm going to retain it this way. So here is a shot with the number plate lights on. I swapped the halogen W5W bulbs with LED bulbs, a set of Osram 6000 Kelvin bulbs. So looks very neat. So this is that exploded parts diagram showing the rear bumper and all the associated parts. Part number 8 is the number plate light, and it comes with all the screws except for the bulb. So this is a rear bumper which I sourced locally, not through Boodmo. These are the fasteners used. It's always a good idea to change all the fasteners because they would have been rusted. This is that Phillips head screw which is used on the outer corners, and these are the number plate lights. Before I wrap my video, I wanted to share how I sourced these bumpers. I did not get them from Boodmo because Boodmo charges an exorbitant amount for shipping. Instead, I approached the MGP outlet here, and one of these guys said the parts for Zen have all been stopped. Clearly, he wasn't aware. So I moved on to another store somewhere in GP Road, and those guys were very helpful. And he suggested that I pay him a very small advance upfront, so I end up buying it from him later. So I did that. I sent him the screenshots over WhatsApp, and he said that these parts would arrive within 10-15 days, so he would inform me. The parts came, and he requested me to collect them, but I was not traveling 20-25 kilometers to collect them from where they were. So instead, I booked a transport facility through the Porter app, and they loaded these bumpers onto something like a Tata Ace. They charged me about $600, and the helper was the driver himself. So he loaded those bumpers onto the Ace, and I collected them from my office, loaded them into my car, and took them to my apartment. So I didn't have to visit the outlet. So you can do something like this in case you feel transportation is hard for you. That's all for this one, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for more videos on the Zen's restoration. If you have any comments, let me know in the section below.